Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Everyday Eats. We're here in Southern California. I'm taking a break from the cold back in New York where it's 10 degrees, and we're at the beautiful home of Bonnie and Marshall Wexler. As you can see, I'm in this fantastic kitchen, and keeping with Southern California laid-back style, I'm going to be making one of my favorite breakfasts. We're doing a dill, smoked salmon, and goat cheese omelet. Okay, here we go. Basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting up the dill and we're going to be sauteing the salmon. And this is pretty much a straightforward omelet. And we want to start with a nice freshly chopped dill. And you can see this is right from the farm market here where you can get all kinds of great stuff. And we'll keep our dill on the side here. Put that in here. Now we're going to take some smoked salmon. This is a gorgeous Norwegian salmon here. It's boneless. And we're going to take just a nice amount and we're going to give it a good dice. As you can see, here we go. We're going to dice this. And this we're going to be actually sauteing in a pan. We're going to be sauteing this in a pan and giving this a little bit of heat. And that's going to cook it and that's going to firm it up and that's going to help it to stay nice and solid in our omelet. Also, by cooking salmon briefly, you bring out some of the flavors in it. Let me grab my pan. Now we're just going to put this on the fire. We're going to use a little bit of butter. Let's actually work on this side. Excellent. Let me grab a little butter out of the refrigerator. And it's just wonderful to be out here in California. I love it. We're in February right now, and the average temperature during the days here in California is 72 degrees. How great is that? Take a nice chunk of butter. Now the salmon is oily, so I'm going to throw a little bit of butter into my pan here. And we'll do this on a slow heat. And give that a chance to melt. And this is Quincy. Quincy, come say hi to Come say hi to everyone. Come here, boy. This is Quincy the Labradoodle. Quincy Wexler. Okay, back out. All right, so we have our salmon chopped up here. We have our dill. Let's get our eggs beaten. My rule of thumb is 2 eggs per person. So we have 3 people we're cooking for this morning. I'm going to be using 6 eggs. And with the eggs, we want to give them a nice beating. A fork. You can use a fork. You can use a whisk. I happen to like a fork. I'm just used to this. Got my eggs beating. Perfect. I'm going to add to this a little pepper. I'm not really going to do much salting because the goat cheese itself is salty. But I do want to bring out a little of the flavor, so I'm going to do some freshly cracked pepper. Okay, here we go. Just a little bit of pepper. Perfect. And this is an omelet. And so with this omelet, we're going to be actually sauteing the salmon a little bit, and then we're going to be pouring the eggs over it. Adding the dill. Once it sets, we're going to be adding the goat cheese and folding it over. It's the way I like to make omelets. It cooks them through and through. And this is a recipe that you can adapt to anything. If you want to put artichokes in your omelet or ham and onions, whatever you want. Cheeses work just as well, all kinds. So let's check our pan here. Our butter is melting, so I'm going to add my salmon to this. Just give this, and this is going to cook very quickly. I'm going to give this a little stir. Get a nice wood spoon here. One of these is difficult to. I want to just make sure that the locks, all the surface area in the locks gets nice and cooked, and this happens very, very quickly. I'm just going to let that cook for a minute. Got my dill chopped. I've got my eggs beaten. And I love fresh dill. Dill is one of my favorite herbs. And if you don't like dill, you can substitute parsley. You don't need any herbs at all. It could just be a goat cheese and salmon omelet. And this is an omelet that's often on the restaurant menus of lovely places for brunches. If you want something light, without a lot of starches. You know, we're all trying to watch our weight a little bit. We're all cutting back on starches. This is a nice combination of proteins and cheeses. It'll hold you for hours. So it's considered a very healthy lunch. Okay, let's look at the salmon, and you can see it's getting nice and a nice pink on the bottom. That's how you tell when it's finished. Then we can sort of turn it over. And we're looking for this nice cooked kind of a color on it. And it just needs another minute or two. And we'll just give this a little toss here. Oh my goodness, the smell of the salmon and the butter is amazing. Just incredible. And I'm out here for a week. I have family out here. My niece is having twins, and it's great to be out here. And whenever I have an opportunity to cook in another kitchen, it's always very exciting to me. Sort of, every kitchen is a little different, and I just love it. So I love taking the show on the road a little bit. Now I'm going to extend the eggs a little bit with just a tiny bit of water. It makes them a teeny bit fluffier. You can use milk. And you want to just give it one more whip. That's perfect. Okay, great. Let's check our salmon out. Well, I think the salmon is just about finished here. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pour the egg. I'm going to put a tiny bit more butter on this though first. And this is the one time I like to use non-stick cookware when I'm doing omelets and eggs. Typically I don't. Typically I like to use a nice stainless pan or cast iron. Okay, the salmon is done perfectly. Now things are going to happen pretty quickly. We're going to pour the eggs in, and they just surround all that salmon and create this gorgeous omelet. And you can't really move things around too much once it sets, but you have about 30 seconds to do this right now. And just hang out here. I'm going to grab my dill. At this point, I'm going to put all the dill in the omelet as well. And the dill does not need to cook any further than this. Look how gorgeous that is. Can you take a look at that, Jamie? The colors. Isn't that beautiful? Mm-hmm. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to let this omelet set. So I'm going to turn the heat down, and I'm actually going to cover this pan. Let me sneak in here and grab a cover. Well, I know we have a cover somewhere.
The bottom drawer.
Okay. I'm missing our cover from last night when we used it.
It's in the
okay.
dishwasher.
All right, so we're going to cover this, and I'm going to let this do its thing on a very low heat for about 8 or 9 minutes until we see it starting to set. And then we're going to come back for the last part of the video. We're going to add the cheese. We're going to fold it over. We're going to plate it, and it's going to be incredible. See you back here in 2 minutes.